right.
Go, fellas.
So good. We go. I'm gonna lead this one and keep this going expeditiously. All right. So this is a very special one. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Collaborative Effort. This is also, we are cross-pollinating. With me, I have two guests that you have either seen or heard before. I have Tracy Pugh, who was actually the guest on the first episode, and then the two-time champ, because he's got the most views, he likes to remind us, my guy Kevin Grant. The reason we're doing this is because we also have our own podcast called We Pod or What. So this is a 2-for-1 episode. So I'm gonna jump back and forth between being a co-host with you guys and the host on this one. So for We Pod or What, I will start it off. My name is Anthony Hadley Jr. I am a creative collaborator and a resident homebody. And you gentlemen can go with yourself.
I am Kevin Grant, writer, actor, filmmaker, husband, father, brother to all.
Oh, okay. I'm Tracy Pugh. I am a creative dog walker, dog sitter, babysitter, whatever I need to do that's legal to make a few dollars.
All right, so jumping back into collaborative effort, I want you guys, for those that have not seen or heard those episodes, tell us a little bit about yourselves, where you're from, things you're pursuing, and the things that drive you. Let's start with Tracy.
All right.
Same thing, just give us more depth.
Yeah, I'm from Cali, a little suburbia town, maybe about an hour away from LA. Most of my family's from the inner city LA. Been running a family-owned business since 2014 currently. And we in COVID, so putting that out there. So that's why I say currently. We got to see what's going on in the future. Working on that. A little background on me. I played college football, played at San Jose State. Had a full scholarship there. Got a degree in criminal justice. Got a passion for running, weirdly. You know, I have my months where I love to go out and hit a few miles. And sometimes it's hard, but I got into it a few years ago. I'm an adrenaline junkie for the miles. And I got 3 dogs.
All right. Kev, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Kevin Grant, lived in Los Angeles by way of New Orleans, Louisiana, where I grew up. LSU is where I matriculated. 2 kids, wife.
What brought you out to LA?
Film, screenwriting the film. So got out here, caught a couple breaks here and there. Been on the indie tip. Still building, but that's been the most important, most main thing there. Right. I also had a fashion line as well, where we had done suits, going a different route, but right. So entrepreneurial endeavors also always abreast.
Absolutely. All right, so let me pick both of your gentlemen's brains because this is very pertinent to us right now. What are your thoughts on this Joe Rogan deal and how it's going to change podcasting, or just the influence it may have or impact it may have on the podcasting game? For those who don't know, Joe Rogan just got a deal from Spotify that is rumored to be worth about $100 million to go exclusive this fall. So,
yep. Well, first I think it's good in a sense that it shows that there's a true investment there, and but of course that comes with things like you said. So once you get that sponsorship, will they want to kind of direct where the show is going and anything else? Because whenever you involve money, you go with that. But I think as far as content creation, I think it'll motivate a lot of people who may have not been lax about it, but see that, okay, well, there is a future in this, right? And with the state of affairs, it's definitely a viable option to where you could turn it into a job, like long term. Because obviously people listen to podcasts on their downtime whenever they can. So I think it's good for it, whether even on an independent tip, because I think it'll drive the content to either get better or get more focused to where, because we all know people with lots of podcasts and who are interested in it. But I think that kind of, I don't want to say validates, but
Mm-hmm.
in a sense it does. When you put in $100 million for a podcast episode, I mean,
Yeah.
it's gotta mean it means something.
Yeah, it means a whole lot.
Yeah.
Tracy.
Okay. Short version. Short version.
I said he wound up. He was like, okay.
He hit that all right.
Really, I mean, it's such a, because it's not just like, you can't answer this question without answering the other question without breaking down what a podcast is. I mean, first of all, the podcast is such an incredible thing, and it's incredible because of this thing, the cell phone. You gotta think. I mean, 10 years ago, even 10 to 15 years ago, advertising was only really done through the radio, through TV, through like games. Now, like, the podcast is the new local marketing campaign for whatever you got going on. Because your podcast may not be at Joe Rogan's or some of these other big name podcasts cats out here, but when your brand develops, you have all that content. So for people to understand who you are, what you represent, and to get to know you more, because that's what happens when you own these celebrities. Is like we get to know them, and we kind of figure out like their personalities, what they represent, etc. And we develop they develop a following, I would say, and I think with the podcast as a whole is it's giving everyone an opportunity. Well, that's technology. Let me move on. Technology is giving everybody opportunity. So that's why I'm gonna say that. The podcast, along with YouTube and other things, are giving everyone a opportunity. I'm not gonna say equal, because obviously if you know people, you got money, that's gonna help. But a opportunity to market yourself. Whether that's like if you're a singer, if you're in sports, or if you got content you just want people to hear, you want to deliver a message. Now you have a platform that can potentially get to millions and millions of people. And then with this deal, like any deal, like when, I think we talked about athletes on one of our episodes. I think that's one of the ones that we got successful recording is we talked about Michael and how, he was one of the first big athletes to get like a major deal, from Nike, obviously, and from the NBA. And how he really only got paid like his last, I think, 2 or 3 years. It was like his real big payday from the NBA. I don't know about Nike. And that was like he was like that was a standard. Like I think Anthony used the example that we talked about Dennis, but how Pippen, excuse me, we talked about Pippen, how Magic Johnson was the standard before then on getting paid and contracts. And Larry Bird, obviously, too. I don't want to disrespect somebody. They like Bird. But Larry Bird and Magic, they was a standard, but that shifted. And obviously, you got the LeBrons and the Kobe's. But example, these people break through, and they go, okay, well, I'm worth this much. So now, for us little people, maybe those pennies become nickels and dimes, since the platform, that really just proved that the audience is there, that it works, that a lot of people are making money off that. Because if they paying him that much, trust me, they didn't made triple that, or double that, or quadruple that. So,
or at least on the investment they plan on.
Exactly. So, it's great. I think it's really encouraging, especially in this time where, and they did it in a smart time too. I don't want people to think it was by accident. I mean, they know now that streaming is 100 times more popular than it was even a few weeks ago because of everything going on, and it looked like it's going to continue down that road. So, I mean, it's a good time to get in it. If you did have, it's going to be a lot more contracts to represent that. Maybe not at that magnitude, but really nice contracts coming to be because of everything going. Because people ain't in their cars driving to work. I love the radio. I listen to Big Boy. I've been listening to Big Boy my whole life, but it's a little bit more difficult it was my routine. I guess that's what I'm saying. Now you get to choose your new normal, your new routine now. So you can pick a podcast spot you like. You can switch it up, and you home all day. You get sick of music. And that's the thing. You can't listen to music. Anybody who works out like yourself, Anthony, or whatever, after a while, you kind of get like, you get sick of it to a certain, you get sick of it. So you throw on a podcast like we all do and try to learn something new, try to get a different perspective. So, yeah, that's my short version. Let me stop.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Tracy Pugh's short version. But no, so I think it's dope for a lot of different reasons. I heard there's another podcast, what is it? I can't remember, it doesn't matter, but they're very close with Joe Rogan. So they were giving their thoughts on it, The Fighter and the Kid. And they were just talking about some of the issues. And like for me, it speaks to me specifically just because I am working on the side to also be a YouTuber. So they spoke to some of the issues that they have as creators and building their brand with YouTube and some of the censorship and some of the things that aren't shown and how they censor people. So for just being a creative, like a visual creative and working a lot in the YouTube realm, I think it is very interesting to see how Spotify is building a whole visual platform onto their brand right now because of Joe Rogan, but the door is just going to open for so many other people. And I think, and for me, the two podcasts that I really watched, like Kev saw when we first got on this, I was watching Joe Budden. The two ones that I watch are Joe Rogan and Joe Budden. So it'd be interesting to see the dichotomy of how they treat, because Joe Budden, I think, is up for renewal. I think he said September. So it'd be interesting to see how, because you know how Joe Budden is, and he's not to the level that Joe Rogan is, but he said he's looking back, he wish he would have took a better deal. But to see what Joe Rogan got, he's definitely going to push the envelope for people like us a little bit more. But I'm also glad to see those two people specifically under the Spotify umbrella, because, for lack of a better term, and I'm sorry about the curse, Tracy, those are two people I know that don't give a fuck. So at the end of the day, they will not be beholden to what these corporate people want them to do, and that's why I like what Joe Rogan said. They're our partners. So to see somebody get that deal, and I'm imagining Joe Budden's going to get a pretty good deal moving forward. I'm glad it's those two people that, like, in their own way, for different cultures, they fight and push for the culture. And I think there's a lesson to be learned in that. The fact that, like, if you look back to Joe Rogan, like how long he's been doing this podcast, like I had a conversation on my last one with a young lady. She's a pretty successful YouTuber. And we had we talk about, you see where YouTubers start, where they finish. And then I made the point of where I saw, like, Christopher Nolan's my favorite director. And I saw where he started as a filmmaker, and his first film, like student film. Like it wasn't that good, but, like, I mean that in a good way, to say, like, he made this, now he's making that. So I think there's something to be said for a lot of people that want to get into any of these realms, whether it's building a business, doing something else creative, visual, or podcasting, that it takes time and you got to put in the work, but it does pay off, because Joe Rogan's been doing this for like a decade. He's got hundreds and hundreds of episodes, like me and Kev are talking about. They're hours long. So, like, just think about, like they say, mastery is 10,000 hours. How many hours you think Joe Rogan put in this podcast? Like, probably like 100,000 hours.
Oh yeah.
And that there is something to not be missed or forgotten in that element, that he did the work. He put the work in. And I think when you put the work in and you're consistent and you are persistent, it will literally and metaphorically pay off. And we're seeing that now.
So, I agree. I think last note, just because I don't want to, but also speaking to that, just kind of how you say open doors, like, and they use Tracy's reference, like those deals, right? You have this historic deal, quote unquote, but what it does is it opens up the doors to where, like, okay, that was once historic, but then as people come in more and more, then you find, like, the revenue is getting higher, the deals are getting higher. And so that's why I think it's great, because it's basically like he's doing this just astronomical number right now. But then as you see, like, podcasts are super popular, then you'll have more people that's like, oh, well, they got 100 million. Like, just like in sports, right? Every year they'd be like, oh, he's the highest paid this season. And then somebody else comes along. So it's like, I think it's good for, it's just good for keeping people motivated, because some people are motivated by money. And so I think that works.
All right, since I know we're short on time, I think I know what yours is, Kevin, and you know what mine is. But I want everybody, and we're going to start with you, Tracy. No, just one thing that you've done or worked on with yourself in this pandemic that has helped better yourself, or something that you're proud of that you've been working on or accomplished in this time.
So a lot more visualization, a lot more
Mm-hmm.
meditation has been taking place. Just sitting there before I go to bed, like imagining what I want, trying to manifest where I want to live. Me and my girl, we go walking, we pass by these beautiful homes, like, I try to envision myself there, see myself cooking, see myself in the house. So I've been doing
15 dogs.
The dog, getting ready.
On the phone.
On the phone. So,
Farm.
Farm. Oh, farm. Sheesh. Yeah, I would love a farm. Let's not get into that. But,
yeah. Sorry. I can see it with the overalls and the wheat.
I see him right now with
hat,
like I feel
barefoot.
I feel like he got on
cuffs
overalls.
rolled up.
He took off the straps right now, and he got them underneath.
Go ahead, Tracy.
It's a farm or living in a small beach town, man. I'm constantly pressing my girl for those, but no, just that, and then also I've been more. Some weeks I'm more consistent than others, but really trying to sit down and meditate along with the visualization of there's power in sitting still, and there's power in creating what you want internally first. Everyone being creatives know, like, before you did your first commercial or movie, Kev, and before you moved out here or did your first short film or whatever you guys are super proud of, I'm sure y'all y'all saw it within yourself before anybody else can even see it, before you was even talking about it to other people, because you didn't want anybody to maybe not crush your dreams, but to put any salt on it. So I've been trying to get back to that, my roots. I used to do a lot more on the athletics, my younger career athletics, like in high school and early college. But you kind of lose it. If you share stuff with people, you get their opinion, it gets jaded. Yeah, everybody knows the story. So I'm just trying to get back to, I wouldn't even call it confidence, because I feel like I have a lot of confidence. I would just say seeing what I want and believing without like any question of believing without a doubt that I'm gonna accomplish it, and not getting frustrated with the time, because like you said earlier about Joe Rogan, like, I'm sure he was I don't know, but I would imagine he got frustrated at time with podcasts and putting these time in, putting these hours in, and it took time.
I think Kev got a question real quick.
When you visualize, how do you?
For me, like it'd be like, I'm trying to do it throughout the day. Like I used to be.
Well, like, do you do it first person, or you see yourself?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna answer that. But I used to do it like I need to sit down. I needed 10 minutes. I needed this. I needed, the lights off, candles lit. Now it's like, okay, like my girl had mentioned something. I'm like, okay, yeah, I want that. Like I said, walking through these beautiful neighborhoods. I'm living in that house. I'll see a car that I want. I'll visualize myself in that car, owning it in my driveway, pay like the way I want it financially, paid off, no payments.
But it's from your view, right?
Correct.
What I learned a big thing about.
Speak on that, Kev.
But feeling it too, not just go ahead.
Well, hold on. I want to hear what Kev got to say, because I need to hear that one.
So, a big key that I learned about visualization is a lot of times you see it, and I used to do this. I used to see it play out like a movie, right? But when you look at the visualization and you have it play out like a movie, you're set apart from it. So the key is to actually be in a first person. So like when you're visualizing as that self of you. So when you're looking out from that first person view. So instead of it. Right. So instead of you like being a spectator, you're a participant. So if you remember that in your visualizations, you'll actually see like how much visceral they are. And I've seen just like the time of them coming to fruition is like tenfold.
Yeah, I've actually never heard that, so that's dope.
But even with that is very important. But I'm saying when it even gets deeper is along with what you said, the feeling. Like you got to know, like, hey, how am I gonna feel in this house? How do I feel in this car? Because the feeling is what makes it reality.
Right.
In this realm. So the way that's exactly meditation. I didn't even know you meditate. We gotta do an episode on that. That's dope, bro.
Go ahead, Kev.
Yeah, so for me, I would say I got a few, but I'll just do the most recent, which
No,
was
no,
we were
no.
talking before. The fast. So I did a water fast. I did a 3-day. I did. My intention was 3 days, but I ended up doing 84 hours, and it was just water. Meditation got me through a lot of. But man, like the clarity, it in the
Tell us
beginning it was
about
tough.
the water, what time of day did you drink the water? How
I
much?
just made sure that as long as I was drinking between 2 liters to a gallon, that was it. I've done them before, but this time was the first time I did just strictly water. Because before I've done with black coffee, you can do.
Was it regular? Was it regular water, or did you have special water?
I did mostly alkaline.
Alkaline.
Yeah, but I mixed in like regular just because you want to make sure that you're hydrated.
Let me ask you real quick. Where do you get your alkaline water from around here?
Trader Joe's or Costco.
Okay. All right. Back to your story. Go ahead.
So starting off, it was rough because we center so much around food, and then just I figured out how often like I'll graze, right? Like you making something for the kids, or you just cooking, and you like take a bite here, take a bite there. You might lick your finger from making something, just like real small things that would break fast. So that, and I think the cognitive clarity, because I'm all about like just being optimal in terms of also just whatever I'm doing. And man, I would recommend it. I mean, obviously, take advice from a medical professional and everything like while you're under it, but not even just the physicality of it, because I dropped. So you could probably go from day one and then look at my face from when I started to now. But really, the cognitive, the spiritual, I really felt like I feel kind of brand new, like in a good way. So I'm gonna try and keep that going and like really dive into the exercise and continuing to pray and meditate and everything, and just ride that wave and kind of what you spoke to, right, about enhancing your strengths. How you said like the way you work best, like sometimes it's on your own. We talked about like a fitness thing, and so I'm trying to ride that feeling, ride that clarity, and just really continue feeling good and push forward.
Well, even, fasting. I've done a lot of fasting in my life, so I didn't know this about you, bro. This is so dope. But I'm just saying, the water is obviously. I mean, there's juice fasting. Everybody knows that. There's intermittent fasting, and there's a water. The water is just super intense. Like I mean, like you said, when you have a little juice, your insulin go up. You feel okay.
That glucose.
That mood. I mean, people don't understand when you fast and how dramatically, especially if you don't do it often, your mood and your hormones shift. So, and you got a full family. So this is nothing light what you just did, bro. Like this is huge. So, give yourself a clap on the back. The fam might not understand, the wife might not, the little kid that was eating snacks in front of you might not understand, bro. But I know that was real. But I will say for fasting, and I know we got a short episode, I'm not going to linger, but I'll say this. It's like the thing about fasting and meditation or anything self-discipline is at the end of it, obviously, when you go through that, you're a stronger person because you can say, now I'm sure you say no to snacks and whatever a lot easier than before because you like, I know what it's like not to have nothing but water. Like, I can say no to that, whatever your weakness is. And that's what I feel, that empowerment. It doesn't, I mean, it'll last a good month, maybe 45 days if you eating clean. But I see the importance of fasting and any kind of religious beliefs. It always talks about some type of fasting. And I understand why, because you're becoming a stronger you at the end of the day. And the stronger you are, the better you're going to be able to show up in the world. All right, Anthony, I'm done. I'm sorry.
Look, I'll pinpoint. Look, listen.
Go ahead. We on your time, kid. So go ahead.
I just wanted to add, like, what you say, you're stronger for it. And I think those little wins, a lot of times, is what can push us for those bigger wins. So it's like, 3 days, blah, blah, blah. I didn't go out and, create world peace. But the whole idea is you take that momentum. It was like, well, I set this goal and I got it done. And you keep riding the momentum of the little things and they just snowball into the bigger things. And so that's why I think it's also good good deal to do like those little wins here and there to keep you motivated. And that speaks to, you know, the podcast, that speaks to YouTube, that speaks to whatever you're going after. If you get small wins in your life, wherever you can, it'll definitely keep you motivated for the bigger ones.
Yeah,
And
I should let
sleep.
you go last.
Hey,
You could close us out on that.
No, sleep and fasting are only times your body is able to heal. So there's a lot of, you can look up on YouTube, you can look up on any platform, there's books. Like those are the two, it's proven, no matter what you believe, everybody know when you sleep, you're healing, and when you're not consuming food is when your body's healing. So yeah, there's a lot,
I didn't know that.
Stuff, some power. And I know a lot about water because my mom did a 30-day water fast.
She did 30 days?
We went to Martha's Venue.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, bro. She had it professionally done. I mean, it was obviously doctors on deck.
Right.
I mean, she did 30 days and then she tried to do one a few years later, but she only got 15 days.
I know. It's like,
but
but
water is different. Like I've done a bunch of juice. I might even do one, but when you're messing with that water, it's I'm telling you, like, and the fact that you were able to do it at home, that says how strong you are already mentally. So I mean, and next time you do it, text me, bro. I'll try to do at least 24 to 48, but I mean, that would be no joke.
Yeah, I'm planning on doing another one probably at the end of the quarter, but yeah.
Yeah, I make that a group effort. Like I said, I should have had you let you close this one out. But shut up, Tracy. You can't talk more for that. So, well, not like there's one main thing, but the other thing, of course, is like I've been trying to just take this time to be as physically active as possible, just because it's there. So, of course, I'm doing a bunch of walking. But
you're in the 4 a.m. club. Let them know about that 4 a.m. club.
Nah, that's a different thing, and I'm not consistent enough to brag about that one. But I've been on this similar to what we've all been talking about, this meditation. I'm in this group for this 21 days of abundance. It's one of the Deepak Chopra groups, meditation groups that somebody else is leading. But each day is a specific thing that you're supposed to work on. And outside of my dealings that me and Kev were talking about earlier with some of these retail things and issues of bad customer service, I've been doing really good. Like I've noticed, I don't say I've been doing really good, but I've noticed where I've been applying some of those things in my life. Like you guys know, for Kev knows for sure, the interaction me and my nephew have a lot. And he can get on my nerves sometimes. And usually, like, so for instance, like usually he'll want to come over and he'll be like, oh, I just want to come over because I need this. So I shot something for him last week, and then he came over, and of course he was like an hour late. So I'm like, all right, bro, I'm on the schedule. So I'm like, come get these videos, and then you got to leave. That's how it was in my mind. But I started to try to listen, because I think the day, basically one of the day's messages was like, treat people. It was about something about unconditional love. So give out the love that you want back. So I was trying to start listening to what he was saying. So I realized, like, he was over here in the corner where the podcast stuff is. I was in the kitchen, and I started to realize, like, he wanted to actually hang out. So originally I told him, like, yo, you got to go. And then he does his little whine thing. But I was like, you know what? I was like, all right, he sounds like he wants to stay. And I actually started listening to the words that he was saying and the value in them, rather than just like, because like I know, like you guys know, like I can almost mimic what he's going to say before he says it. But it's just like, I saw always in my mind, like, okay, this is the record. This is what's going to happen. But I tried to take myself out of that and listen to him. So I was like, all right. So I let him stay over. And then even like my nephew can be a little, and I'm not trying to doubt him or anything, but it's just, he, as Kev knows, he is one of my tests in life. So
this is a nice setup you have
here. But so even like he's notoriously a notoriously picky eater. So like I'm getting ready to make dinner and all that. We'll like warm up dinner, and I'm like, oh, I'm low on food. I'm like, I don't even want to take the risk of offering or something, and then he goes throw it away. I'm gonna be mad. I was like, you know what? Let me give what I want to receive. So I was like, I asked him if he wanted some food or whatever. We went through the back and forth. I was like, all right, let me just get to the end of this. And then, so I ended up making him some food, and then he enjoyed it. And, it was just cool. Like we didn't really talk because he was over here doing this thing. He really needed internet. He just wanted to do whatever. But, he would check in from time to time, because that's when I sent you guys the videos when I was watching
he was a video
live stream. But like he got to see me in my environment, like when I'm editing on this computer, I'm doing this and I'm doing that and trying to multitask. And I think for him, also understanding that, you know, like his father's out here in LA, but he spent most of his life in Nebraska. So to not have a lot of male figures around all the time, I was like, you know, if I can do something by just, if he said he wants to be around his uncle, I was like, well, let me give him what he wants, and realizing though it may not be in my comfort zone, which is really picky because I'm in my own home. It's like, well, let me think about something with him. So that's just one example. So I'm trying to not only find the peace, and I'm on that journey within that we've talked about on our podcast, but trying to apply those things. And when I saw that, I was like, yo, I'm actually applying these things with him. I was like, all right, so I can see the growth. So that's my thing, is just trying to apply that in the patience. And even like I'm really, really impatient, like when it comes to like buying something, which is the bad customer service thing. So like I want it right now. You guys even know, like I bought something, it was from California. I'm in California and it got shipped to Tennessee. But like usually where I would have been actually
that
frustrated.
ain't normal, dog. We gotta talk about
like, yeah. But no, so for me it's like little stuff, like I see so many little things that are happening, and they're like testing, like, so it'll happen, I'll get frustrated, I'm like, no, okay, this is the test. This is, and I think that's what life is. Life is literally like, I apply life to school. Like you take the time to learn something, but it doesn't stop there. Once you learn it, you're going to be tested on it, and you're going to continue to be tested on it until you pass. And even when you pass, you're going to be tested on it on another level. So for me, I think it's been good to have the time in this time in the pandemic to be home, to have that mental space to monitor myself and internalize, not only internalize, but apply the things that I'm learning in this meditation journey to everyday life things where I have a lot of room for growth and work. So yeah, so I appreciate it.
I dig it.
That's real.
And on that,
Right there.
I think we are going to sign off. Do you guys have any last words? 30 seconds or less. We're looking at you, Tracy, before we sign off.
Hey, man. Yeah, I got some last words. You know, everybody out there, I hope some people can take some stuff out here, and if it just brightens up your day with a smile, if it's some information, and put some comments on there, guys. If there's something you want us to talk more about, like subjects or topics, I mean, we got a well-rounded group of men on here that have different experiences. So let us know what y'all want to hear.
Yeah, you can close this out. I ain't got nothing else to say.
Yo, I know I closed it out with my clothes out, so now I'm like,
so, all right, we got it. We got it.
Well,
we will.
You know, until next time, everybody have a beautiful, blessed day. Peace.
right, that's the energy I was looking for.
Concise.